My name is Clara Bennett, and today I want to share a story that has stayed with me for a long time, not because it was loud or dramatic, but because it was quiet, patient, and deeply real. This isn't my story, it's the story of a man named Edward Hale, a man who spent over 35 years repairing watches in a small shop in Savannah, Georgia. People in his town believed he had a special gift. They used to say that if time ever stopped for you, Edward could make it move again. But what they didn't know was that one day, Edward wouldn't just be fixing time, he would be protecting it. Edward lost his wife, Eleanor, 8 years ago, and her absence left a silence in his life that nothing could truly fill. She had been more than a partner, she was thoughtful, observant, and always seemed to understand things before anyone else did. Just before she passed, she brought an old grandfather clock into his shop and placed it carefully at the back. She didn't explain much, she simply looked at him and said, "When the time comes, you'll understand." Edward didn't question her, because he trusted her completely, even in moments that didn't make sense. He kept the clock exactly where she left it, untouched for years, not realizing that one day it would hold the answer to everything. Edward had a son, Ryan, a kind-hearted and respectful young man who stood by his father after his mother's passing. Every week, he would visit, sit with him, help around the shop, and remind Edward that he wasn't alone. For a long time, Edward believed that no matter what life brought, they would always have that bond. But everything began to change when Ryan married Vanessa. At first, she appeared perfect, confident, intelligent, and graceful, but there was something about her that Edward couldn't ignore. She didn't look at the shop the way others did, she didn't see memories or history, she saw numbers, value, and opportunity. Her questions started small and harmless, asking about the property, the future, and whether Edward had thought about retiring, but over time, those questions began to feel less like curiosity and more like calculation. Edward didn't react immediately, instead, he observed quietly, noticing the way conversations shifted, the way Ryan slowly began to change, becoming distant, unsure, almost like someone else was shaping his thoughts. Then one afternoon, while Edward was away, his assistant Lydia called him, her voice trembling as she told him that Vanessa was in the back room, going through his desk. That moment didn't shock Edward, it confirmed what he had already begun to suspect. Instead of confronting her, he chose patience. He began documenting everything, every visit, every question, every small detail that didn't feel right. And one night, after thinking deeply about everything, he finally went to the back of his shop and opened the grandfather clock for the first time in years. Hidden inside, beneath a secret compartment, he found a letter written by Eleanor. She had seen the signs long before him, had quietly prepared for a situation she feared might come, and had left him not only evidence but a message that changed his perspective completely. Not everything broken needs fixing, some things need to be stopped before they destroy everything. In that moment, Edward understood that this wasn't just about protecting his shop, it was about protecting his son from a truth he wasn't ready to face. So he didn't rush, and he didn't create conflict. He prepared carefully, gathered proof, secured everything legally, and waited for the right moment. When the time finally came, he invited Ryan and Vanessa to dinner, where he placed the clock on the table and revealed everything, the documents, the evidence, the truth Vanessa had tried to hide. She attempted to explain, to justify, to twist the situation in her favor, but some truths don't need arguments, they simply need to be seen. Ryan sat there in silence, not reacting with anger but with something deeper, something heavier, the realization that the person he trusted had been hiding intentions he never imagined. That night, Vanessa walked away, and over time, Ryan slowly found his way back to his father. Their relationship wasn't instantly repaired, but it began to heal, one conversation, one quiet moment at a time, just like the delicate work Edward had spent his life doing. I'm sharing this story with you because it carries a lesson that many people overlook: real love isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's patient, protective, and willing to make difficult choices for the sake of something greater. Greed doesn't appear as greed, it comes disguised as concern, advice, or planning for the future, and if you're not careful, it can quietly take control before you even realize it. So always pay attention to actions, not just words, protect what truly matters in your life, and never let anyone reduce your years of effort, love, and sacrifice into just a number. And now I want to ask you something honestly. If you were in Edward's place, would you have stayed silent and gathered proof to protect your family the way he did, or would you have confronted everything immediately, even if it risked breaking your relationships forever? Thought balloon.